Hi folks, it's Andy. Welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. Okay, so here we are for another week of fantastic questions. We're going to jump to them in just a minute, but before we do, don't forget to help us grow the Kendo population by liking, sharing, subscribing, leaving a comment down below. All these things are very important because what it does is it activates the YouTube robot ninjas who go out and find people to start Kendo. Pretty sure this is how it works. We've already got 12 billion people starting Kendo doing this already. Like I say, what you need to do, you need to like, you need to share, subscribe, hit the bell icon. And most importantly, you need to leave a comment using the word Kendo. Something like, what a brilliant Kendo channel. This is the best Kendo channel I've ever seen in my life. Something like that, so that the robots know that it's Kendo that we're going to get them started in, all right? So we don't just get like a billion people starting badminton or snooker or something like that, okay? So make sure you use the word Kendo in your comment down below. Now, there is something even more important than that. What could be more important than that? Well, if you like this video, if you like the videos that I put out, whether it's these ones, these Q&A style Kendo rant videos, whether it's the analysis videos. I did one yesterday with my daughter Miyabi. We did a video where we sort of reviewed her match from the World Championships. If you like the instructional videos, more coming soon. If you like all of these things, they all come free of charge. There's no hidden costs. You don't have to pay every month. You don't have to pay for subtitles, nothing like that. All you have to do to support the channel, and this is the best bit because it's a win-win situation, is shop at KendoStar.com. KendoStar.com is the best Kendo equipment website in the history and future of the universe, galaxy, solar system, Milky Way, everything, okay? KendoStar is the best. Now, of course, I would say it as I own the place, but everybody agrees with me. We're the highest rated on Trustpilot. We are the best at what we do, all right? You don't want to buy twice, okay? Don't end up buying somewhere else, regretting it, and then coming buying with us in the end. Buy right in the first place, okay? We're an established brand, especially for the international market. That's KendoStar.com. Okay, let's get to these questions. Okay, first one. Hi, Andy Sensei. Thanks for always for the awesome Kendo content and covering the big Q&As of the recent WKC. Couple of questions. Okay, I'm recovering from a bit of a cold, by the way, so that's why I might sound a little bit bunged up still. Anyway, for the last team match between Japan and Korea, the infamous Chuken match. Oh, here we go. I thought I'd got away with this. I thought I'd escaped this last week. Should the Shushin have allowed the Korean player to tie his men at least just once, irrespective of previous bias, as there may be a case where the Korean player in the past WKC were time wasting or catching breather with similar antics? 2, in the title match between Singapore and GB, I know that you don't usually like Nito, but the Singapore Nito style looked pretty good. What are your thoughts on his style? He doesn't wag his shoulder around as much as other Nito players I've seen before. Thanks in advance for the answers. Have a great week. Okay, 2 difficult questions for me there. Thank you. Look, your question is, should the Shushin have allowed the player to retie his men? That's not for me to say. That's absolutely not for me to say, and I won't say whether they should have made that call or not. That's the call of the Shushin, and they are qualified and selected to make that call. It's not for me to sit on the sidelines, having never been in that situation or position, having not sat in the Shimpan meetings and briefings that they'll have all been in, to say, well, yeah, he really should have done that, because that wouldn't be right or fair to do so. If I'm honest, if we're going to talk about that match, if I'm honest, I'm going to do a review of the final match at some point when I get some time. But I know a lot of the chat surrounding it is surrounding the refereeing of that match, which I think is a little bit harsh from in retrospect. Not in retrospect. I mean, I remember at the time, yeah, there was a pretty negative atmosphere in the arena surrounding it, probably because it's hard for the crowd to understand why the match was being interrupted on various occasions in different ways. But you know, it's very easy from an armchair to say you know better than the people who were qualified to do the judging, right? So you know, I've got no criticisms personally of the Shimpan that were involved. I think that they undoubtedly were doing their best to judge the match fairly and evenly. I do not think that they had any sort of intentional bias, and I don't think that there was any kind of intention to disrupt the Shiai. I think they just wanted to conduct the Shiai fairly, which is their job. And I think there were a few points that were quite nuanced, actually. Having reviewed the video of the final match from a better angle from where I was stood, and bear in mind I was stood down on the court, on level of the court, but obviously much further away from where the videos are being taken. But from the courtside video, there's some quite nuanced points where the Gorgies were called, where at the time I was wondering why they're calling Gorgie, but now seeing it from more up close position, it seems to me more like I understand why those were called for. And in terms of allowing the players to retire the men or not, I mean, again, that's at the discretion of the Shushin. I was not able to see exactly what that Shushin could see. So it would be unfair for me to say they should have or shouldn't have allowed for that. Okay, so you're not going to get a better answer than that, I'm afraid. In terms of the title match between Singapore and Great Britain, of course that was a painful match for us. But the title from Singapore was he was an excellent Nitoka. I've got nothing but praise for him. He was dare I say, one of the good ones. Because the points at which he made his strikes were excellent. The ippons that he scored were fantastic opportunities. He wasn't just messing around or bashing away with the shoto. I think he is in pursuit of Kendo rather than trying to cut corners like many people who take up Nito tend to be. So I thought his style was very good, and I thought he was very impressive indeed. Next one, great video, thanks Fish Sensei. He shed light on some stuff I as a beginner don't understand yet. I guess I'll do a Kendo rant marathon. Nothing better to do, summer break and no cake was killing me. My Kendo Sensei is also called Fisher. I'm not going to try and pronounce that in your mother language, which is Slovak, but okay. But the problem is, he said to me that I'm not creative enough while fighting in Jigeko. What should I do, Mr. Fisher? I know that my repertoire of waza I can do is really small, and most of them I can't do fast enough yet. I've been practicing Kendo for 6 months now, please help. I don't know. It's hard to say without seeing what your teacher is seeing. In Jigeko, for someone that's been doing Kendo for like less than 2 years, I'd probably, personally, I don't think I'd go down the route of saying that you need to be more creative. I think you need to work on the basics and make sure that you're doing the men strikes properly. But I think in that case, I think it's a good idea to maybe talk to your teacher a bit more and ask them what they mean. I think it's okay to practice different waza if you've practiced them in the dojo. Maybe that's what they mean. They want you to try different techniques that you've worked on, which I don't think there's any problem with that necessarily. But I think you definitely need to make sure that you're still able to focus on making your men strikes, particularly with good humikomi and kikentai no ichi. That's the overall thing. Okay. Hi Sensei, I've been practicing Jodan on my own and occasionally during keiko as a means to rely on my left hand more when striking. Recently, however, I've been feeling slight discomfort in the area of my hand between my thumb and my index finger. Is this supposed to happen, or am I holding the Shinai wrong when swinging? Just to clarify, I hold it the same way with my left hand as when in Jodan. That's impossible for me to say just off a question online. But if you're sort of holding here and the pain is coming like here, right? Is what you're saying. I don't know. But there's obviously something that's not quite right. I don't think it's normal. I'd be reluctant to say, oh yeah, that's normal, you should just get over it, or everybody experiences that. I am not a Jodan player, all right? I've had a very, very short stint of Jodan a few years ago. Maybe 4 years ago. Shortly after about 4 years ago, due to an injury in my right elbow, and I couldn't swing the Shinai with my right arm. So in order to practice, I did a few weeks of doing Jodan. I did not experience that. I was very bad at it as well. It's definitely not my thing. So there we go. But yeah, it's hard to say without seeing what you're doing, but it's got to be something to do with your grip, hasn't it? Most likely. Okay, so this is a comment from an older video. I just saw this and I realised it's 3 years ago. However, I do have a question in regards to switching dojos. I started Kendo at a dojo that I practiced at for 5 months. I have no problem with etiquette and practicing hard. However, 2 of the senseis were either verbally abusive or physically shoving me when I wasn't getting a concept like certain footwork. I practice other martial arts and I'm accustomed to hard work and discipline. I taught martial arts myself as well as other classes. I've tried to politely ask questions and just got more verbal abuse. In my opinion, they're poor examples of what 7th Dan should be. There are other dojos near me, but Kendo is a small world. Thoughts? One more question. The same dojo says they are noted for their clean style. What does that mean? Okay, so I guess for the clean style, they mean that they're like kind of like try to do straight Kendo or like non-tricksy Kendo, should we say? But I don't know. Look, this is a difficult one to comment on as well, because you know, different people have different understandings of what this sort of thing is. But what I would say is if this isn't compatible with your, with you, if you don't like this sort of style, which is absolutely perfectly acceptable, then I don't think it's a problem at all for you to move dojo. And if you really do feel like that they're not good examples of what 7th Dan teachers should be, then I don't think it's a problem for you to move, and I don't think it's such a problem for you to. I don't think you have to care so much whether they care about it or not. I think the best way to do it though is to just talk to the other dojo and say, look, you're looking to move. Things just don't quite fit for you at this dojo that you're at. And would it be okay if you move to that dojo? And as long as they're okay with it, then go and speak to the teachers of the dojo you're currently at and just say, look, you could make up an excuse. That's probably what I do. I just say, look, things in my work schedule have changed around a bit or whatever, but it's actually it's a bit hard for me to come to practice on these days at this place or whatever. So I'm going to be moving to another dojo. Or you could just be upfront if you wanted and just say, look, this, it just doesn't quite gel with me. So I wish you the best, but I'm going to be moving to another club. You could say that as well. Probably more likely to cause an issue if you say that, but I don't think it's a problem. What's most important is how, is that you feel comfortable in learning in that environment. So that's what I'd say on that front. Okay. Dear Sensei, Shakespeare, Renshi Rokudan, I don't think he was, once wrote to koyubi hangake, when holding the Shinai or not koyubi hangake. That is the question. Okay, that's a lie, but what is your preference when holding the Shinai? I'm not sure. I've never heard the term koyubi hangake before, but I'm guessing from the way the Japanese, what the Japanese means, I guess you mean when holding the Shinai with your little finger, sort of half on the Shinai like that, or more like that, or more like that. I don't know. Look, for me, it's not so much about where my little finger is. It's about where my Shinai sits in my palm. So, personally, I've been taught a lot that holding it more like this, right, where this is like in here, is definitely more suitable and has more benefit to your tenuichi, and it's probably true. For me though, I think I tend to hold it a little bit more. I don't think about it all that much. It's not good to have loads sticking out like this. Yeah, definitely not good to have loads sticking out like that. But for me, it's not that I don't think about it at all, but like I just hold it where I feel comfortable. And I think that's the key thing. I think you have to find where is comfortable, and still able to execute the techniques that you want to execute. So yeah, I wouldn't kind of go too hardline on this sort of Koyubi Hangake type thing. But if that's more, find what's more comfortable for you, and go with that. Hey Sensei, quick temporary, non-temporary rules question. Are you still not supposed to kiai into Bazeriai, or has that been relaxed? Thanks, hope all is well. So that is a good question. In the current provisional rules, yes, you're still not allowed to shout when you're in Bazeriai. So when you're close up to the person, you can't shout. Okay, that's still the case. All right. I think it wouldn't surprise me if that goes away at some point, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think the rest of them are probably here to stay, like the separating and stuff like that, because the whole overall like flow of Shinai is much better now. But they could get rid of the idea of, you know, shouting. But I mean, at the same time, they could just keep it, and it wouldn't make much of a difference, because all we have to do now is say that, you know, you don't shout there, you know, and I think that will be fine. I don't miss doing the hase in Tsubazariai, to be honest. So, but you know, probably I still do it by habit. I don't know. So I haven't really done loads of Shiai since the rules have been imposed, so I can't really say much for it. But it is currently the case that you're not allowed to do it. Okay. Okay, last one. All right, short episode today. Hello, Andy. My friend always carries a small spray bottle of water and sprays his Shinai before and after practice. He claims to have heard this done by a junior Japanese kendoka to prevent Shinai from drying up and consequently breaking. Is there any truth to it, and what's your experience? Thanks. I've never heard or seen of that before. I've never seen anyone in Japan do that. I've seen people carry a small spray bottle of water, sometimes to spray the palm of their kote or the scar of their Shinai directly before Shiai, just to help the grip. Not sure if it works or not. I've just seen people do it. But sort of spraying the Shinai with water, I can understand doing it after practice. I wouldn't do it before practice. And whether it works or not, I don't really know. I guess it depends on the climate. Japan's pretty humid though, so I don't think they need to do that. Maybe in winter. But no, I've no experience of doing it, and I can't tell you for sure whether it works or not. I guess in theory it could do, but again, don't do it. Don't do it before practice. Don't start using a wet Shinai before your practice. I'd do it after. You know, when you finish practice, you could do it then. I don't think there's any problem doing that necessarily. Though I think you're probably still better every few weeks just stripping it and giving it an oil. You know, that's probably better for it than just spraying it with water. So yeah. There we go. We're at the end of the show already. Okay, nice, short, sweet, sharp episode there. Sorry for having the sort of bunged up voice. It sounds really bad in my head. Hopefully it's not as bad on the video. And hopefully I'll be better next week. I think I've got a show next week. I've got a show next week. So thank you very much for joining me today. We've got loads of content coming. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shop at KendoStar. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.